virtue versus evil, poverty, criminality, child abuse, and nature versus nurture. Heavy concepts that form the central themes that run the course of the novel Oliver Twist. Dickens portrays true virtue as invincible, even in the face of desperation and compelling evil. Oliver Twist is innately virtuous. He remains selfless, honest, compassionate, all throughout the trials and temptations set in his path. The selfish, devious, and ruthless Fagin is his evil nemesis, a corrupter of children and adults alike who hides behind a mask of charm. Oliver meets and overcomes a series of temptations in the form of a life of crime, but Oliver sees through Fagin and Jack's rosy portrayal of this life, refusing to succumb. Deeply affected by his own poverty as a child, Dickens addresses this theme in Oliver Twist by closely observing its effects on Oliver and those around him, effects that include malnourishment and death. He comments bluntly on the treatment of paupers in workhouses and on the hypocrisy that often characterizes the organizations and their representatives who are tasked with their care. Dickens describes in detail the atrocious and sometimes deadly conditions in which the poor must live. The theme of criminality is tied to the ideas of virtue, evil, poverty, and even hypocrisy. When all else fails, the poor may be driven to crime, especially petty theft. But this is far from the only type of crime Dickens explores in Oliver Twist. He shows how greed leads to petty theft, to picking pockets, to fencing, as with Fagin, and to housebreaking and even murder. And while Fagin's role in taking boys and training them in criminality may not be strictly illegal, it certainly corrupts these young characters and leads them to lives of crime. Child abuse in Oliver Twist is individual and institutional. Children are regularly beaten as punishment. Oliver is beaten constantly throughout the novel. In Victorian England, a common punishment for child criminals was a public whipping. Dickens seems to find the practice abhorrent. The good people in the novel never punish Oliver at all. It must be noted, however, that he never does anything deserving of punishment. Other abuses of children also take place in the novel. They're locked in dark places, publicly shamed, and starved. For poor little Dick, this institutionalized abuse proves fatal. Finally, much of Oliver Twist considers the struggle between nature versus nurture. Fagin constantly attempts to corrupt Oliver and turn him into a criminal against his true nature, which is to be kind and good. Dickens also examines how nurture can triumph over nature in characters such as Mr. Sowerberry and Nancy, both of whom have basic decency at their cores, but who give in to temptation and outside influences.